Hello. How are you guys doing today? So I decided to do a video today to talk about something that I've been wanting to change for a while on my channel. Something about a certain specific video series that I have done only a couple of in the past that I basically modeled after Cry's abridged series, if any of you guys watch Cryotic by chance. What's the series that I'm talking about? My silent sit-downs, of course. I mean, what else would I be talking about? Have you been living under a rock Oh, right. Those were never very popular. Well, see, here's the thing about those, is I always spent the most amount of my time when making videos, putting together my compilations, and my silent sit-down videos, and my analysis videos. They don't necessarily see the most attention versus other things that I do on my channel, but I do put a great deal of work into them. And I realized looking back at it and trying to think about doing a silent sit-down specifically for two games, which is Cry of Fear and doing Underhell. And for both of those, my previous setup for doing silent sit-downs just doesn't seem like it would work very well with them, and that's because the old segments that I had set up for it are just too nebulous. And the old way that I had 5 steps previously, right? So let's go ahead and start there. I had 5 steps, which was introduction, gameplay, pros, cons, and conclusion. And I may have added in a description section because I didn't actually see it when I was looking into the first video that I did for a silent sit-down. I feel like I added a description in there somewhere that was, again, very nebulous and doesn't encompass any particular part of the game to analyze, so I decided to scrap everything altogether. Instead, it's going to be going by introduction, plot, gameplay, music, pros and cons, and then the conclusion. Because this actually talks about very specific areas in the game to be able to go over to. So, going to start from the beginning here. Introduction is just as simple as it sounds. Just a short intro to the game, talking about the devs, the year of the release, a summary of the game and what to expect, and all of this other shit. Where I found the game or why I started playing it. Then we move over to the plot, which is, of course, story elements, and then I slowly will bridge the story and the plot and the idea of the game into the next section, gameplay. And this is where most of the conversation about the game is going to be in my silent sit-downs. And this encompasses literally everything about the game from a gameplay sense. The atmosphere, the mechanics, the feel, the gunplay. And again, this is probably the most nebulous of all of the areas that I will have as the gameplay section, because this is really where it matters, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I look at games, is how it plays. The next section, music, which is, again, very self-explanatory. Now, for those of you who are not aware, I am a musician. I've been playing a violin on and off now, but I played a violin pretty much every day from 3rd grade until fucking high school. In my sophomore year, I think, was when I stopped playing. Sophomore or junior year. One of those two. And I played basically every fucking day from that point to that point when I stopped. So music is definitely very important to me, and I do just look at it very differently from somebody that is just a consumer of music, because I can read sheet music, I've played it, I understand the theory behind it and what comes into making music as well. So it's going to look a little bit differently when I'm looking at music versus, again, just somebody who consumes it. But anyway, whatever, we're going to just keep going on from there. I just wanted to say that there's going to be an in-depth conversation about music in these silent sit-downs. Pros and cons, again, self-explanatory. A lot of these are very self-explanatory, but I'm going to go ahead and describe them a little bit anyway. Is exactly the same as it was with the prior silent sit-downs, but I'm compiling pros and cons together in the same segment with a short description of the main things that I thought the game did absolutely great and the places that it fell short. And then we go to the conclusion where we wrap everything up all together and talk about everything that we went over with talking about the game, the feelings of the game, would I recommend it, to whom and why, etc., etc., etc. Now, Bear in mind, my silent sit-downs were never thought of to be made as a review of a game. I am not fucking IGN that tells you, like, how good a game is, necessarily. It is all purely from my perspective of seeing things and looking at it and who would enjoy the game, who would not, and what to expect from said game. We talk about the game in depth, so it is not going to be trashing a game or talking about how great a game is, or just any biased kind of way of looking. I mean, it's going to be a little bit impartial, only because if I do like a game, I'm going to be praising it a lot in it, of course, but it's going to be, for the most part, unbiased, though, just because I'm going to be talking about every facet of the game that I possibly can, and just dissecting it and looking at it objectively. So, I mean, in a way, it is a review, but I'm not doing it to be controversial, and I don't really give a damn. It's not to be. It's not about discussing the opinions that I have about that game. Is my point. I'm not going to throw this up there so that people can argue when we argue back. I mean, I'm not against it, but it's not my intent. I don't really give a damn, frankly. But anyway, that's all I wanted to go over here, guys. This video is a lot longer than I wanted it to be. I was hoping for like 3 or 4 fucking minutes. That didn't happen. I will see you guys later on. Expect a silent sit-down, I'd say within like a month or something, for Cry of Fear, most likely. I'm going to be working on that for my next video, so take it easy, guys. I will see you later.